Going to be working on this 3-piece set for my client. These are her childhood dressers that she wants to get redesigned, and we're gonna go with a gray body and a stain top on all three. She got the inspiration from a dresser and some nightstands and several things that I have done in that combo. That is what she wants. I want to remove these pieces, change out the hardware, so I just sent her a text and asked her if this is something that she would like to do. I'm waiting on her answers. In the meantime, I'm gonna start by cleaning, removing all the hardware, and seeing where we go from here. Let's get started. You guys, I've had the hardest time recording this video, or not recording it, but actually getting it to save. So anyway, I'm doing this on InShot, and I hope that the video quality is my usual. I started this project for a customer whose furniture has been in a fire when she was a child, and she wanted to save it anyway. This is going to be going now to her child, and so it has lots of sentimental value for her. I began with a huge scrub. I used a couple of products, including Dixie Belle's White Lightning and some green clean, or whatever that is called, to make sure that any possible soot or any odor was removed from that. I also wanted to stain the tops, or she wanted me to stain the tops. So we went ahead and started sanding this with a 220 grit, then a 120, then I moved on to an 80, and then decided that this was still a very hard, I think it was baked on a couple of times, no pun intended, finish on this. So I use some QCS is fabulous because you leave it on for 15 minutes, come back, scrub it off, and then wash it off with some White Lightning. That is my choice, and it removes very easily. Here it is, the second top of the second dresser that I'm doing, and I just wanted to show you guys after a 15-minute spray on with this QCS thing, it comes off so easily. The other dresser, not as much. This one was a Formica, so on that one I just cleaned it really well, and then came back to the other two pieces and sand them off. You see right there how easily that went. I sprayed on some water to make sure that I didn't have any swirls, and after that I moved on to the dresser again, filled in those gaps where those shell things used to be. I had to do a second coat of the Bondo on both of these because it just needed it, and sometimes that happens, but it's no big deal. So I just applied a second coat of it and then put it on where the old hardware used to be. On that top of that same dresser, I used some Slick Stick. Slick Stick is fabulous to be applied on pieces that need an extra bond for the paint. I moved on to everything, sanded it, taped it off, and then moved on to the booth, and I use Boss on this. I use Boss because it is a great primer that can be used if you have any odor that you need to deal with, and then for bleed through. Fabulous for both things, love it. I always flip everything upside down or sideways and make sure that I get the underneaths of those dressers, because there's nothing more embarrassing than having a customer pick up and then seeing all of that unpainted. Here's the explanation on how I spray silk all in one paint, and a lot of people have asked me this question, so I wanted to make sure that I actually wrote it and stamped it over here for you guys so you guys can see and follow. Super easy. Basically, you want to put everything through a sifter. You want to add about 10 to 15% of water to it. That way it's not too thick and it doesn't give you orange peel. You want to make sure that you put it through the sifter because you don't want any of that right there that can be dried on the rim of the containers, and you don't want that into your container where the paint is going to go through the sprayer. After that, the one thing that I recommend is mix it very, very well until there is no water that is at the top of the paint. You mix it very well, and you'll feel it drag at the bottom of the container, and then it won't drag anymore when it's done. And then after that, you want to take it straight to spray, because if you allow it to set, then the paint is going to sit at the bottom again. I did 3 coats of this paint on 3 pieces, and I only used about 20 ounces of the actual paint and about 2 ounces of water. So there's not a whole lot of water that you need to use with this, because if not, you'll dilute the solution, and you don't want that to happen. Allow everything to dry overnight, and then come back and use a 400 grit sponge to sand everything very well, do any additional touch-ups. And then, even though this paint doesn't need it, I always add a top coat, and that is just a preference. It is not needed, it's just a preference. I moved on to the tops of the dressers, and I made sure that I sanded well. I put some water on it to make sure that there was no little swirls. And then I also opted this time to apply a wash on this, because the wood was very red. So that again is just something that I wanted to do. I forgot to actually drill the holes before I painted, but it's okay. I trust my finish, and I went ahead and did that. Just do a crisscross on it, and the hole that where it crosses, that's your middle, so drill right there. For the tops, I use Voodoo gel stain, and again, it's over the paint wash, so it's gonna look beautiful. I don't skimp on it. I go ahead and use it and apply it with a damp blue sponge. It is the easiest way to apply it, in my opinion, because the sponge is wet, so it's going to allow that gel stain to move very, very easily on the wood. It gives you a couple of minutes anyway to do it, but that to me, or this to me, is the easiest way to apply it. After it dries very well, you want to make sure that you sand with a 400 or above grit, 400 or above grit. Clean it and dust it very well, and then apply your top coat the same way. A wet sponge. Don't over apply, just apply it, let it dry. If you missed any spots, don't worry, because you're gonna come back with it anyway a couple more times. Sand in between, and then that's all you have to do. Look how beautiful this ended up. My client was super happy, and although the hardware didn't come in until Monday, or is not supposed to come in until Monday, they look beautiful, and she's super happy. She can't believe it's the same set, and it's going to live in her home happily ever after. Look, that is the faux wood top, and it looks absolutely fabulous. Again, guys, I want to thank you for being here today. Please make sure that you leave me a comment, a like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so that you don't miss any of my videos. I haven't done the weekly vlog in a couple of weeks, but I will catch up with those again. I've just been living life, and I will see you again soon. Have a great one. Thanks again for being here. Bye.